I'd like to introduce our amazing MC, Dan Tyler. So, Dan has gained the rank of the most senior design oversight engineer in the Bureau of Project Development, and he manages the state's value engineering program. But you may know him best for what he's about to do next, and he does at other conferences. So, since 2012, he has managed the WisDOT Design Awards program, and he also MCs the Construction Awards at the CE conference as well. But he is back tonight to grace us with his energy and give away all the awards for the designs this past year. So thank you, Dan, for doing this once again, and I'm going to turn it over to Dan Tyler.
Thank you very much. My goodness. Appreciate that introduction. Fantastic. I like the music. Your ticket pays for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to our annual Design Awards. Thanks for sticking around at the Transportation Improvement Conference, which I have heard this morning is the biggest one in history so far. So thanks for being here. It's a privilege. After a long day of sessions and networking and handshaking and whatnot, let's celebrate together. A very warm welcome to those of you joining at tonight's live World Wide Web broadcast. All right. I think my wife reported there were 9 live online. Tonight is March 10th, 2026, and of course, that broadcast you can watch on YouTube. For those of you tuning in later, thanks for joining us for the Design Awards. A special thanks to Dan Arneson in the back from OPA and Allie Mission, who's taking pictures for tonight's event. Excellent. Thank you for capturing these high points in our winners' careers, I hope. I'm Dan Tyler from the Bureau of Project Development. Thank you, Jason, for the very kind welcome. It's my real pleasure to be your host. Back now for the 15th year. Whew, where does it go? Where the judges, we couldn't do it without a panel of judges. Thank you very much. They represent FHWA, Central Office, the regions, and consultants. And now, would the presenters please join me on stage? We have Michael Holker and Jerry Menzel from the Administrator's Office. When we hand out the awards tonight, I do have a list of names, as always. If you're here to receive the award, and I don't read your name specifically, but you belong up to get the plaque, please just come on up. Use the stairway on that side. They'll shake your hand. We'll get some pictures, linger up there for a moment while I describe the projects, and then we'll move to the next category. Sound good? Here are the criteria by which we judge the Design Awards. It's our goal to make it possible that many kinds of projects, not just big ones, can compete here in this competition. It's projects that clearly identify problems and find efficient ways to solve them. The purpose of tonight's presentation is twofold: to recognize the hardworking people who've created these great projects, and to share a selection of projects from all around the state, because many of you otherwise may not get to visit these jobs. So whether or not you're taking home some hardware today, you took the time to nominate your project, so I'm here to share it with the world. Let's dive into our 24 Design Award nominees. Our local program category usually goes last, so to keep things fresh, I've brought it up to the top this year. So in the engineering world, this is like wild and crazy behavior, I think. Here we go. The first nominee is County H in Waupaca County. The team from North Central Region and Robert E. Lee and Associates created this reconstruction project. They called it an alignment first design, meaning that by shifting the alignment, some of the beam guard could be removed, which the homeowners didn't like, between the houses and their docks, and a failing embankment could be stabilized. There were some pedestrian safety concerns, and the neighbors insisted that the right-of-way not be widened. The new 3-foot paved shoulder should help. Thank you to Jason Schaefer from WisDOT and Ashley Nelson from Robert E. Lee. Our second nominee comes from Southwest Region, Della Koenig, the PM, and Jewel Associates, with a new path in the village of Barneveld. Ellery Schaefer and his team they had to work with steep grades in the driftless area, rock cuts, tricky hydrology that comes with fast-moving water. This new $1.1 million path project connects the village to its favorite park and the Military Ridge State Trail. So users of all ages can now enjoy riding, fishing, baseball, and whatever other good times Barnevelders enjoy. And the third nominee comes from the Northeast region. It's Country Club Road in Green Bay. And now I hope you can be proud to call it an award-winning project. Our first winners, Troy Robillard, Phil Verville, come on down. Kimberly Slezak, Jody Jarasinski. Here's Jody. Great, come on down, folks. This is a north-south roadway connecting Highway 54 in Northeast Wisconsin to Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, a country club, and residences, many of whom are tribal members because it's entirely within the Oneida Nation Reservation. A lot of thought went into the typical section, which varies based on the context. In the southern half, there's a continuous right turn lane serving the college and sidewalk on both sides. To the north, it's two-lane with parking and sidewalk on one side. Bike lanes were added throughout, and 10-foot lanes were used to help minimize impacts. A good example of how a typical section can in fact change throughout a project to meet the needs. Stay there for a minute. I have just a couple more great things about this, all right? And engineers don't care for the limelight, but you earned it, so here it is. Another design element to note is this new stormwater detention under the roadway, designed to manage peak flows, dissipate energy, reduce TSS. Putting it under the highway meant fewer impacts. One thing that I wanted to point out, I was delighted reading the document quality portion of the nomination. There were 4 change orders totaling $129. Solid, huh? So 5 bids with 0.1% between number 1 and 2. Sounds like a pretty sharp plan. Congratulations. Okay, next let's have a look at the rural design categories. First, by WisDOT. This was a great field of 5 projects, every region, and the scores were tight, especially among the top 3. The first project is the US 63 rehabilitation in Pierce County, submitted by Jim Rinzel and Dan Rambo in the Northwest region. One thing that stood out was the attention to efficiency. Outdated beam guards weren't automatically replaced. Some were, of course, and others could be removed as a result of new grading, reducing long-term maintenance and roadside hazards. Several culverts were also improved, notably in coordination with Ed Lilla, our BPD drainage engineer. One utilized a beehive inlet grate that worked well for these site conditions. North Central Region nominated Highway 2, a resurfacing project up in Saxon and Iron County. Michelle Goyne, Nick Voss, and Zach Grueling. This scenic route, in their words here, part of the Lake Superior Circle Tour, symbolizes northern Wisconsin beauty with rolling hills to sprawling forests and stunning views of Lake Superior. I've driven up on 2, maybe you have too, it's no exaggeration. This project dealt with a layer of existing sulfur asphalt pavement which required extra safety precautions. Under that, here's a typical, was even more old concrete. Yowza. So they had a special detail for the concrete, and then this also caught the judge's eye, a special detail for a combination flume and pipe to get the water from the end of the curb and gutter down to the ditch. Pretty slick. Third nominee comes from Southeast Region, the US 12 and County ES intersection, submitted by John Engerson and Peter Thau. This is a Highway Safety Improvement Project, or HISIP, job to install new signals where other efforts fell short. There were many iterations to the competing improvements like sight distance, preceding curves, and driveway access. Curb and gutter was used in a deep cut section here to avoid a new ditch. And for traffic control, the project was tied to a nearby bridge replacement, so both could be done with the same closure. Well, here's another safety project, another HISSIP from the Southwest region, the rural intersection of US 151 with County Highway C in Dodge County. The nomination explained numerous alternatives considered, with the reduced conflict U-turn, or R-cut, having the largest expected decrease in serious crashes, with the least cost, footprint, and time. It's not easy to design when standards are still being developed, but working with BPD and location-specific design, Mickey Doyle, Matthew Lamb, and their team developed the first R-cut constructed in the Southwest region. It's right on the way up to Door County, so check it out this summer. The final nominee comes from the Northeast region, their US 141 project in Crivets. It's yet another HISSIP project addressing a long-standing pattern of injury crashes. In fact, they were able to overcome public opposition to a two-way left turn lane that had existed for about the past 20 years. So would you please join me in congratulating this year's winners, Sarah Erickson and Kurt Vogel, Northeast region. Come on down. The category was a tough contest, but this project pulled ahead for a few key reasons. Lots of alternatives, attention to the context, solving specific problems, and working with the public. This portion was among the top 5% of safety concerns for similar highways, plus existing intersections often had long queues waiting for left turns. Where 141 crosses a rail line, a section of raised median is used instead of the twiddle. The railroad crossing was replaced along with the project. Finally, the conversation ranged from building a bypass to widening to 5 lanes, but the numbers show that 2 lanes plus the center turn lane address the specific type of crashes observed at a much lower cost, less than $2 million in total for this project. Congratulations. Okay, in this year's Best Rural Design by a Consultant category, there was also a full field of 5 nominees, and here they are. Northwest Region and JT Engineering finished a 12.5-mile stretch of State Highway 64 in Dunn County using the hot-in-place recycling method. Only the second such project in Northwest Region, hot-in-place hot-in-place recycling involves heating, milling, rejuvenating, placing, and recompacting pavement all in one huge train, right in place. Another way to say this, you need a veritable shipload of propane. Shipload. This project was significant as a pilot for the method, and so big kudos go to Devin Herrings, the pavement engineer, Jessica Dowd, the PM for WisDOT, and Matt Sullen, the PM for JT. The next nominee is State Highway 100 in the city of Franklin, from Bhupendra Bista at Strand and Robert Bellin at Southeast Region. The 3-mile project is a combination of reconstruction and pavement replacement, totaling about $13 million. A new shared-use path was built. Its alignment developed to avoid right-of-way impacts to Milwaukee County parks. The job attracted 6 bidders, the lowest within 1% of each other. The Northeast Region nominated the Highway 15 DDI and Capitol Drive overpass along the 41 corridor in Grand Chute, a corridor that is truly transforming Northeast Wisconsin. This $28 million project was designed as the region's second diverging diamond, aimed at improving traffic flow with a smaller footprint than some other alternatives. A curved retaining wall and redesigned ditching were 2 ways that designers limited those impacts. As part of their robust public involvement plan, the corridor team created a 2-minute video about how to navigate diverging diamonds. So any of you who may be working on a DDI, get in touch with Tim Verhagen from Northeast Region or Lauren Zidek from HNTB. Next, let's have a look at Southwest Region's nomination near Watertown. The $17 million job here replaced pavement on 9 miles of State 16, along with the significant intersection update at Oak Hill Road. Like this. Working through 16 alternatives, the single-lane roundabout best addressed the pattern of serious crashes within a reasonable footprint. Check out how the frontage road is incorporated at the top of the picture there. Another component, there were a few areas with less than 2,500 feet of multi-lane road where drivers would race one another and to get in front, right? So the design reduced many of these areas to single lane, which should both improve safety and save us about $300,000. So nice job, Corey Inman from EMCS and Mike Rampestrider from WisDOT. And now, the fifth and final nominee, your winner for this year's Best Rural Design by a Consultant, North Central Region's Highway 8 project in Forest County. Come on down, Stacy Hagenbuscher and Brian Schlopek from JT. I want to give a big shout out. I can't tell you how many times Stacy called me in the last few weeks. Have the design awards been picked yet? From my work with North Central Region, I know just how hard she's worked over the past 4 years to bring this to fruition. This project scoping started 4 years prior to that. Partnering with Forest County Potawatomi and especially leveraging grant money they landed to create the ATV and bike trails that allow safe off-road travel from Crandon to Leona. This is a really interesting component in this photo. You can see where the two trails come together and pass under Highway 8. Many of the design decisions were based on context, like reassessing and removing an aux lane after a rail line had gone out of service, converting a portion in downtown Crandon to a twiddle section, shifting alignments to avoid cultural resources. The project was the region's nod for this year's construction awards for grading, but got eclipsed by Highway M in Madison. So Stacy and Brian, the Design Awards judges have picked you for your time in the limelight now. Highway 8, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Moving over to the urban designs. There were no nominees from WisDOT this year. So a reminder, if you want to win, you got to show. 2 notes for what it's worth since we have a moment. You might be interested to know there were no unanimous votes among the judges this year. It was a spirited debate for several hours at Hill Farms back in January, so that indicates some really great projects here. And by the way, often what gets debated there, I figured I would just go ahead and ask. We debate whether we have the right categories, the design awards, you know, so are we judging in the right categories these days? So just a casual poll, show of hands, who thinks that we should have some different categories in the design awards? Cool, some, a little bit. If you do, send me a text on the conference app or shoot me an email. I'm curious to hear about it. And if you like what you see, we do reevaluate it year over year to be sure that we're, sorting things in the right way, giving people the chance to share the limelight. Okay, so the consultants showed up in the Urban by a Consultant category. All 5 regions are here. Let's have a look. A quick shout out, by the way, to last year's winner, State Highway 54 up in Seymour. Anybody from that team? That went on to win a regional America's Transportation Awards. Nice job. Yeah, there were 5 nominees this year. And this category took the judges a long time. Let's see how you think we did. First, it's the North Central Region's Highway 13 project up in Phillips. This is a $3 million project that transformed a deteriorated length of pavement to a more modern, resilient corridor. You'll see many of the challenges of urban work right here in all these pictures, tying into building entrances, steps, side roads, Sidewalks were widened and connected to eliminate gaps. Probably also noticed that parallel rail line, always something to work around. North Central Region started this design in-house, and then Alex Passau and Sean Spromberg at MSA brought it to completion. And if you think Phillips is far north, head another 75 miles on Highway 13 and you'll find yourself in beautiful Ashland, the site of Northwest Region's nominee. This is another pavement replacement project with many urban constraints, including the historic Northland College campus and the Main Street Historic District. College officials were concerned about high speeds and pedestrian crossings. Landscape medians were extended to help reduce speeds and split up that crossing. Thanks to Heather Harrington from NWBE and Matt Dickinson from Northwest Region for sharing this project. Debated not to give them a hard time. I asked for some more pictures of the finished product, and they said, like, as soon as they finished the work, a big snowstorm came in and didn't have a lot of great pictures, so I thought it might be a brief lesson learned that we all have powerful cameras right in our pockets. So keep taking the pictures of the great work as it gets finished so you're ready for your design awards and other such project files and whatnot as you come along. So the next two are big projects. Let's have a look. Northeast Region nominated the Ballard Road Interchange in Appleton. Tim Verhagen was the WisDOT PM, and Scott Stevenson, the PM from Jacobs. This is another significant portion of the larger I-41 project and uses another DDI to move that large volume of left turns on and off the freeway. A great deal of coordination was necessary with the city, especially related to utilities. Autodesk Construction Cloud was one of the coordination tools used. Not surprisingly, locals were concerned about how it would look, so staining and basic landscaping were included. One thing that I thought was cool is that a number of trees that had to be removed were relocated to a county park. The Southeast Region nominated the I-43 South segment, a 3.9-mile modernization totaling nearly $200 million. Where to start? Years of coordination led to a shifted 6-lane alternative. The Brown Deer Road was Wisconsin's first diverging diamond. On the other hand, Brown Deer and Good Hope Road interchanges were retrofitted to get more life out of those bridges that were just built in 2010. A new bridge was built for the Union Pacific Railroad, off alignment to keep trains rolling. And as a matter of fact, the UPRR standards limit settlement to just 1/4 of an inch. Thank you to Steve Hoff, the WisDOT PM, and Ryan Yankee, the HNTB PM. So that brings us to the project that the judges selected as this year's winner. It is much smaller in total cost, but large in terms of impact and difficulty. So won't you please join me in congratulating KL Engineering and the Southwest Region for their US 14 project in Westby. Aaron Stager, Joshua Melby, Matt Regner, Tori Leonard from SEH, Jay Adams from WisDOT. Come on down, folks. 14 in Westby, it's a quintessential small downtown Wisconsin town where Highway 14 is also the main street. The design had to balance a range of users from people on foot to heavy haulers, improving mobility while enhancing downtown character and business vitality. Showing how far we've come as leaders in roundabouts, locals and city officials, they were asking us for a roundabout at the 14 and 27 intersection where peak hour queuing led to delays, crashes, and near misses. You can see in the photo that it's enormous, and that's partially because this area is frequented by 205-foot wind tower transport vehicles making left turns. So on the opposite end of design vehicles, the downtown was also made more pedestrian friendly with new higher visibility crossings, RRFBs, and bump outs in key locations. Just a little more, guys. In terms of traffic control, I want to mention the project. It threaded the needle, keeping 24-hour access to the Westby Creamery. Thank goodness for that. Temporary widening and even one-way pairs. The team was also on the leading edge of temporary pedestrian access, really going to great lengths to allow people to get around town safely during construction. I was personally lucky to be part of a statewide group of engineers invited to the job site to check out those plans and the new audible pedestrian signals that were being used there. I think we have a breakout session that'll touch on some of these topics tomorrow as well. Congratulations to the US 14 project team in Westby, Southwest Region. Okay, next up are the structures. From WisDOT, the Northeast region nominated the State Highway 28 bridge over the north branch of the Milwaukee River in Sheboygan County. What might look like an ordinary bridge is in fact extraordinary in many ways. It replaces an existing culvert that was built over 100 years ago with a new flat slab bridge. The site geometry resulted in skewed wing walls. There's also a new sidewalk and a combination railing. A shout out to Lexi Hanley in BOS and Kimberly Slezak in the Northeast region. Our next nominee is the State Trunk 54 bridge over Wilson and Mills Creeks in Northwest region. Just look at this beauty here, yeah? I know the deck is still coming, but just, what is... Nathan Ulness, thank you for submitting this project. Not going to lie, you mixed up the judges a little bit by submitting one project with two structures, but we got it sorted out. Both eliminate in-stream piers, widen roadways, and maintain aquatic passage. The Wilson Creek Bridge is a curved deck on straight girders. Thank you, Stacy Hauserman and Vista Shirari, for designing them. The nominee from the Southeast region is the Highway 38 bridge over the Root River in Racine, a single span that minimized environmental impacts and overcame complex site, hydraulic, and utility constraints. The Root River Bridge is this year's winner. Please come on down, Stacy Hauserman and Malti Kari from Southeast region. Stacy and Malti, come on down. The Root River Bridge provides a vital link between the city of Racine and communities to the west. The new bridge is wider to match the roadway. It includes a sidewalk and a bike lane. It is designed as a single span to avoid piers in the river, which made construction easier considering the shallow bedrock and swift river flow. Some of the features that stood out included the skewed abutments and variable lane widths, both of which integrated with the curved roadway. Here in this photo, you can see crews attaching utilities to the bridge that couldn't go elsewhere. The new bridge accounts for future hydraulic conditions affected by the potential removal of a nearby Horlick Dam. Not only that, but there's also potential for a future path under the structure. That's it. Good. You're ready. Congratulations. Congratulations on this year's winning structure. Thank you, Malti and Stacy. Well done. There is one more nominee in this category. It's not a bridge at all, but a wall. In the village of Rock Springs, that's Sauk County, the slopes between Highway 136 and the Baraboo River were failing and sloughing off into the river. Yikes. Scoping for this project began in August 2024 and construction was completed in November. August, September, October, November. Count them, 4 months. For this effort, we are very happy to award the Southwest Region, BOS, and Bureau of Technical Services with an honorable mention. So would you please come on down? Ann Thielman from BOS and Paolo Florio from BTS. Thank goodness for these guys. The new 1,075-foot sheet pile wall is what you get when smart people in different parts of the agency put their heads together. The Bureau of Technical Services Geotech Unit analyzed alternatives for a slope repair or a wall. The wall could be built faster without the need for roadway realignment while minimizing environmental impacts. Along the top of the wall is a painted steel channel. You can see it gray on the right side of the picture. The top 15 feet of the piles are also painted for better long-term durability. The work included coordination with the village and the tribes. We applaud your quick response to this urgent situation with a product that is also expected to stand the test of time. Thank you and congratulations. Well, that brings us to the final nominees in tonight's contest. These are structures designed by consultants. The first is North Central Region's Chesac Road Bridge in Marathon County. Alex Passow was the PM from MSA, and Mike Grage was the PM from WisDOT. It replaced an old 94-year-old structure. I wonder if maybe that's the one we should really be awarding. Is anyone here from the 94-year-old structure? We should have looked up the as-built, Mike, huh? I'd call this one simple and effective. They used WisDOT's standard bridge tool, automating design and plan preparation. A shout out to Danielle DeTennis from BOS, who developed this tool. This reduced costs to deliver a resilient and cost-effective solution that meets modern standards and sets a benchmark for sustainable infrastructure. Hopefully another 100 years to come. There were 2 nominees in this category, so North Central is the runner-up. And that means that Northeast Region's Rockledge Road Bridge over the East Twin River in Manitowoc County is this year's winner. Would you please come on down? Ryan Scheitel, Arlen Bodette from Ayers, Mike Cohen from WisDOT. Northeast Region, this existing structure was a 3-span timber bridge and posted at 5 tons. And again here, efficiency was its strength, boasting simple solutions that yielded a bridge finished on time and under budget. One of the things to note is that because the schedule was flexible here, this was set up in coordination with the town to allow for winter construction, which turned out to be a good move because it attracted 5 bidders and ended up 18% under the engineer's estimate. The 3-span alternative kept a pier out of the middle of the channel. There was coordination with DNR, of course, and also the Ice Age Trail and its alliance. All in all, it's a low-volume roadway that's now set up for many years of reliable service. Congratulations. And there you have it. That's the 2026 Design Awards. We have 24 nominees, 8 winners tonight. I hope this little tour gave you a little bit of inspiration, maybe some ideas for your own projects. If you would like to make a connection, if you saw something that might be useful in your projects, you can get in touch with me. I'll connect you with a PM, or you can get in touch with them directly, of course. Thank you to those of you joining online live tonight and watching the recording later on. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm sure you've noticed there's a tremendous amount of turnover that's happening both in the industry, at DOT. So I think it's as relevant as ever to talk about our best projects. And our worst ones too, if I'm honest, really. I know it may take extra effort, but it is really imperative that those of us who have gained experience and expertise over time take the time to share it with our newer colleagues, and that each of us do our best to keep listening to what our public is asking from us today. I'll say a heartfelt thank you to the judges, our support team, Andrew from ACEC. It's never too soon to start thinking about which projects you'll nominate for next year. As a matter of fact, in the hall, I heard about a couple of them already, so we can be thinking about next year already. Be sure to take your pictures before the snow flies. But please, my friends, don't wait for an awards program to reach out to somebody and tell them when you notice that they do a good job. Because everybody here, I am confident, is doing the best that we can. Every one of us, indeed, has our difficulties. I'm certain that every single one of us benefits from some encouragement, yeah? So call anytime. Keep up the good work. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.